Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video, I've got 10 recommendations for aquatic fragrances. So July is really a time where I'm trying to cool off in a pool or just spending some time indoors and enjoying the AC. But if I've got to be out there in the heat, aquatics are a great way for me to kind of splash something on and cool down. And these ones are really heavy in my rotation during those situations. One of them is my scent of the day today. Quite a few cheapies on the list here. A lot of these are rack store finds. You can get these on the go if you really need to, and I love the ease of application and the liberality with which I can spray cheapies, and aquatics are a great one for that category. Just because they're not that long lasting generally, although there are a few of those in this list here. And just something to splash on and just keep on spraying throughout the day. So I'm going to get started right away with this first one here. It's a little bit of an old school appeal, and so maybe not everyone's going to enjoy it, but this is a personal favorite of mine, as is evidenced by the dent in the bottle. This is the original Azzaro Chrome. So it's got a little bit of a 90s feel to it. There's no overt aquatic notes listed in the fragrance. However, there's some really watery, dewy florals going on in here, and the overall composition gives you this sensation of catching an oceanic sea breeze coastline along the clothesline. So it's definitely got some laundry-esque style musks going on in here, very clean, comforting, and linen-esque. Very clean laundry, linen-esque, with some dewy, watery florals in here. It just makes it feel like a clothesline drying out along the coastline is really what this one gives me. And like I said, it's got a little bit of an old school 90s feel to it, but I think this is just an all-star for the high heat cooling off, and one of my favorite aquatics in my collection. So that is the original Azzaro Chrome to start this list off. Next, we've got another bit of an OG in the category. I don't see it talked about all that much anymore. However, I still think it's a great one to have during this time of the year. And while I've not executed on it, I know that a lot of people do put this in the refrigerator to help give it an extra cooling effect. And that is Versace Man Eau Fraiche. So this one is kind of taking a backseat in my collection personally. It goes in a similar vein and scent profile as their partner fragrance to this that they released, Versace Verscents, which is the woman's version of this kind of scent profile. I generally like to reach for the Verscents a little bit more. There's a fig note in there and some florals and an olive note that kind of gives it a little bit more of a complexity and a green feel. And I prefer green fragrances to blue fragrances, but this one has an aquatic note, period. The Verscents does not. And so this one I think is a lot better suited for those poolside events and kind of cooling off a little bit. Although the citruses in both are very refreshing, this one just has a little bit more of a nice cool effect to it, and it's really a classic for a reason. A nice little bottle to go with the theme here. Nice translucent blue, very musky, woody, and sparkly citruses. Just a classic combination for this time of the year and this category. So that's Versace Man Eau Fraiche for the number 9 spot here. Okay, the next one, we've got my scent of the day today, and it is a little bit of a... I'll actually put this on as an honorable mention and give a top 11 here, just because this one is technically discontinued, which is awfully sad because it's my favorite flanker in this line, my favorite one that they've released. You still can find this for, I think Gift Express had it for $39.99. The 50 mLs are all over the place for like under 30, and Fragrance Net I think has this for around 50, but they come into stock on Joma Shop for the 100 mLs for 40. It is Coolwater Parfum, and this is kind of like a little bit less dense Versace Dylan Blue is what I get. This has a nice creamy fruity facet going on in here. There's lemon, sandalwood, pink pepper I think are some of the main notes, vetiver, and while there's no overt aquatic notes listed, I do get a very watery feeling from this. There's a similarity to Dylan Blue because of this creamy, fruity facet. Dylan Blue had fig and tonka bean. This one has the sandalwood and citrus combo. And just very, very lovely fragrance. Like I said, it's my scent of the day today. You can see I got a nice little dent in there, and my favorite from the Coolwater line, my favorite bottle from Coolwater. It's just got a nice classy feeling glass going on in here, beautiful juice color, nice sparkly sensation. Just lovely, lovely juice. Really sad that it had been discontinued, so definitely worth checking this one out. That one's going to be an honorable mention just because it's hit or miss when it's in stock. Okay, the next one we've got here, this is another hidden gem. It riffs on a classic DNA, which is Dolce pour Homme from Issey Miyake, and this is 1920, the Origin Eau de Toilette. Have spoken about this one a fair bit on the channel lately. Huge compliment puller if you've ever worn the original Dolce pour Homme from the 90s. This keeps to that scent profile very faithfully, and that fragrance is also a big compliment puller if you've ever worn it out. And this one just modernizes it a little bit, adds an overt aquatic note, whereas that one leaned more into the dewy floral aspects of its composition. And then this one brings in a little bit of ambroxan to kind of modernize it as well, and just is very, very pleasant, very loud. It doesn't last that long, but the projection while you're wearing it is it gives you a good bit of push, so you do pull in attention quite a bit with this fragrance. None of these particularly have the best longevity, but this one in particular, while I have not seen this brand at the rack store, you can find these ones for right around $30 online, and this is an absolute steal in my opinion. I got a nice little dent in there. It's again, some of these are just some of my favorites to spray on liberally throughout the day and reapply. So definitely recommend checking out that Tous 1920, the Origin Eau de Toilette. Probably the most complimented fragrance, or in the top 2 in this list. Next one, another compliment magnet. There's a few fragrances in this scent profile DNA that you could go for, and I decided to go with this one because the marketing is the most on theme for an aquatic list. This is a Missoni Wave, so Versace pour Homme is also one that you could go for. I just find that this one goes a little bit more heavy emphasis on the aquatic nature. The Versace pour Homme has a little bit more of a fresh, clean linen laundry aspect to it, whereas this one is more overt, creamy orange and aquatics. Another one that I've got a decent little dent in there. This one also has really good projection, actually really decent longevity. The creamy facet in here gives it a little bit of body that carries it a little bit longer than some of the other aquatics, and is a very high quality juice for the low price. This one sometimes shows up at the rack stores. Missoni tends to pop up there every now and then, and generally you do not want to pay more than $40 for 100 ml of this, so I think if you can find it for that price, that's a great deal on a fragrance. One of the best cheapies out there, especially for this time of the year. Okay, next we're moving into the designers from the cheapies. This one is a cheapie from time to time, generally when it's not in season, especially like just before summer started. The testers of this for, I believe, the 100 ml bottles were going for under $40 if you can find the testers of it. Right now, because they're in demand, it's hard to come by this one for under $60 or get a tester at all. They're pretty much only full presentation, but it's a classic. This is Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Eau Intense. Very loud projection. This is a kind of like a beast mode summer fragrance, I would say, and it's just got this very pleasant oceanic sea breeze salt vibe going on. Very ozonic, aquatic, salty lemon. This is really just the centerpiece of this fragrance. Very musky, kind of loud because of the musks being pushing so hard, and a compliment puller. Just definitely an easy go kind of fragrance, a classic for a reason. Definitely punches above its weight for its price point if you can find it in the cheapie category. Even at $60, this is a great designer pick. I wore this one as my scent of the day just this past Wednesday, and yeah, compliment pulling, mass appealing. The only caveat with this fragrance is that some people's skin reacts to it in a way that can give off a rotten egg smell, so if you can, maybe test this one out at a Macy's or something before pulling the trigger, but tried and true for a reason. Okay, next, This one is a personal favorite of mine. Don't see it talked about all that much. Does have poor longevity. Only get about 3 hours out of it. But hyper unique, hyper quality ingredients, and from a reputable house. This is Hermes, Jardin and Mediterranee. And as you can see here, another good little dent in that bottle. One of my favorites to cool off with. Probably my favorite aquatic out of all of these right now, at least the one that I've gotten the most mileage out of, I would say. And this is a very refreshing, cold, cool, green, blue cypress, so it's hyper woody. This dewy floral going on in here that gives it this very watery quality. And then a fig note that kind of gives it this fruity nuance that pulls everything together and presents it in a inviting sort of fashion. I do believe this one's a little bit unisex despite having the heavy wood cypress. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorites just to reach for to cool off with, just because it has so much nuance to it that you don't get out of your average aquatics. And coming from Hermes, the quality is really high for being a in that category. A lot of these just kind of lean into that ambroxan to kind of carry it as a fragrance, but that one veers away from that. And then finally, the last designer that we have here, this is Acqua Profondo. Sorry. Profumo is my favorite. That one's been long discontinued, hard to find, but this one I'm happy to wear also. It's just very refreshing, a little bit sticky from this mastic resin going on in here. It gives it this sexy kind of allure to it, I want to say. But otherwise, very nice aquatic and refreshing orange. Mandarin orange, I believe, is the other note in here. You get some of that mineralic quality from the C notes going on, the fruitiness from the orange, the sticky resin, and it's the overall composition just comes together to be a very sporty yet attractive kind of fragrance. Definitely one of the best aquatics out there for a reason. This DNA is maybe the most well-known men's fragrance, I want to say. And this one definitely, it was only a 75 ml bottle, but I don't know if you can see the juice level. I'm really running low on that. I'm gonna have to re-up soon. And then finally, we're gonna move into the niche fragrances. I've got 3 of them on the list here. This one's the newest to the collection, but I love this one because it's minimalistic. It goes on very light, but it has a potency about it, a good sillage. So it's not obnoxious, but it is making its presence known. It's got this sexy second skin kind of feeling to it, like the sun-kissed skin while wearing suntan lotion and in the sand. A lot of simile going on there, but we have Mancera's French Riviera, and hard to come by this one right now. I wouldn't pay more than $100 for this, as is the usual price range for Mancera. This one I think has been hyped on TikTok recently though, so it was sold out on Mancera's official website for quite some time. But yeah, like I said, just it's a kind of like a second skin that's being sun-kissed. You get a little bit of that heat coming off of your own skin. There's that salty quality from your own skin, and then a beachy sand suntan lotion vibe, as if you were just smelling your own aroma of your own skin. Very clean, fresh, out on the beach, in the sand, with the sunshine. The aquatic nuances in here are again kind of leaning into more of a dewy floral aspect and are very subdued compared to some of these other ones, but still present themselves to transport you to that seaside environment. And a really long-lasting fragrance in this category for sure. Definitely check this one out if you get a chance, but don't overpay for it. I got mine on Aura Fragrance for $89, just like 3 weeks ago, so I was lucky enough to snag the deal. Next one, it kind of leaning into that seaside category again. This one's somewhat similar to the Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense, just a very nice, musky, citrus, salty fragrance. This one's a lot more light. And the citruses are a little bit better done. This one generally runs anywhere between 100 to 130 for the full 100 ml bottle. This is Pacific Rock Moss from Goldfield and Banks. This one also garners lots of compliments for me. I go a little bit nose blind to this one. I feel there's something about this that gives me a difficulty in smelling the scent profile around me, but I still get compliments on this one. Well into the wearing experience, about 3 or 4 hours into it, I'm still pulling compliments with it. And this, alongside with Byredo's Bal de Freak, are a few of the fragrances that have this very what I like to call atomic citrus. So you know that this is called an atomizer up here, and the very fine dusty quality that it has when it releases its mist, the subatomic particle of that sensation of it just wafting in your nose, the citruses are so imbued in every single droplet there that you get that texture of the atomizer, almost like the fine mist going on, for how well the citruses come across in this. Definitely an experience to be had. One of my favorite summer fragrances. I love the lightness about it, the nice salty quality, and the citruses are just extremely well done in that fragrance. And then finally, ending off the list, another somewhat new one to the collection, but glad to have it. It goes into the Silver Mountain Water DNA scent profile, which gives you a whitewater rapid mountain air splash of aquatics in that sense. So not oceanic, but definitely a freshwater sensation and a very gentlemanly presentation. Otherwise, this is Xerjoff's Gentiluomo, and this is basically, like I said, the Silver Mountain Water presents itself to you in the opening, so a whitewater rapid mountain air, and then you get moving into this very beautiful lavender that kind of reminds me of something like Dolce & Gabbana's Pour Homme, if you're familiar with that fragrance. And then till finally drying down into something cold, cool, and soapy, a little bit almost like Prada L'Homme Low. So this is perhaps not such an overt aquatic. The watery nuances in this fragrance lean into relying on a violet note for its watery aspects. So there's no overt aquatics in here, but you still do get that nice, foamy, sort of soapy, whitewater rapid sensation going on, and the overall scent profile is also very mass appealing. I do pull compliments with this one fairly easily, and it's long lasting, coming from Xerjoff, so you get high quality and good longevity with this one. And you can generally find this for under $150 for the full bottle. I got mine for $130 from Fragrance Lord. Joma Shop had testers of this listed for $105. Almost got that, but they emailed me and said that they weren't getting it in stock. So pretty affordable niche fragrance though, and high quality, one that I really do enjoy wearing, and it's unique in the category in my opinion. And that was my top 10 or 11 list of aquatics. Let me know what aquatics you have been reaching for this summer season 2024 in the comment section down below. And as always, I appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.